Good evening, viewers. My name is Ayolo Joshua, and my colleague for this program today is Whitey Paul from Uyo. Whitey Paul, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm very, very fine. Ayolua. I'm very good. And the weather here is perfect. The weather is sunny and sunny. So I think that has a lot to do with how I feel today. Oh, and here in Aspherictv, we would like to wish all our daddies out there a very wonderful Father's Day. It's so good to know that we can stand on your shoulders tall. A very, very wonderful Happy Father's Day to all our daddies out there from all of us here in Asperic News.
All right. Dr. Dakuku Perterside, happy Father's Day to you, sir.
Thank you very much. You know, you are a father or a potential father, and Waki is a mother or a potential mother. So I can say happy Father's Day to all of you, and to say to our listeners and viewers, happy Father's Day.
All right. You are all welcome to the State of the Nation, a program you're watching live and direct from the Aspherictv studio here in Abuja. The State of the Nation is a program initiated by the Aspherictv to enable individuals, agencies, government parastatals, and private organizations to highlight their achievements and plans in their various industries. And on this program, our viewers can interact with us live on the following social media handles: on Facebook at Official Aspheric News, on Twitter at Aspheric News, on Instagram at aspheric.news. You can also send us SMS on 090 080 99990549. Once again, 08099990549. And you can also watch us live on YouTube or for other programs on the Asperic TV. The YouTube handle is Asperic TV. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel for more details and other programs. And today with us on this program is the former DG of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Dakuku Adolfo Perterside, to discuss his achievements and challenges faced during his time as the DG of NIMASA. Dr. Dakuku, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Ayo, and thank you to Waki.
Good to have you here. So now to the business of the day. Dr. Dakuku, as the immediate past DG of NIMASA, we've witnessed how you made the agency a very active one with all the international collaborations, policies put into effect, and projects like the Deep Blue project. Now, what would you say were your biggest achievements during your tenure as the DG of NIMASA?
Thank you, Waki. If you talk about my biggest achievement, there are so many that I don't know where to start from, but I'll start from somewhere. Now, you recall that by March 2016, when I was appointed, the rating of NIMASA was between 4 and 5% approval in the country and by industry stakeholders. NIMASA was perceived as a corrupt agency, an inefficient regulator, and one that constitutes a burden instead of a facilitator to businesses. By the time I finished serving my tenure, the approval rating of NIMASA had become between 75% and 80%, meaning Nigerians now have faith in NIMASA as a regulatory agency. There was a total turnaround of the reputation of the agency. The agency was respected at home and abroad. Indeed, stakeholders believe that indeed the agency is repositioned to deliver. If there's no other achievement, the public perception of NIMASA has changed 360 degrees. That's one. Now, two, before we got to NIMASA, the other serious issue is that at many international forums, they were not taken seriously. Under 4 years, NIMASA became #1 in many of the indices in Africa. Is it in safety record? Is it in passing of a dedicated law for anti-piracy? And I can go in many spheres. We are now reckoned with globally. That's another thing. Now, three, we, for the first time in the history of the agency, we consistently carried out promotion exercise as part of a total motivation package for staff of the agency. We did that consistently throughout our 4-year stay in the agency. Now, we developed a lot of plans. We instituted a knowledge-driven organization where permanently we transfer knowledge from older generation of staff to younger generation of staff. We created 4 different platforms to do that. The first is called Knowledge Transfer Section. The second is the DG's half-day seminar. The third is that we rejigged our training program. Fourth is that we created incentive to encourage people to share knowledge. And so I can go on and on, Waki. I can go on Ayo, but let me stop here for now.
All right, thank you. Dr. Dakuku, you spent 4 years in the agency and as a man at the head of the affairs, how will you describe your relationship with the staff of NIMASA?
Well, they are in better position to talk about our relationship. But humanly speaking, from my own perspective, I believe I left when the ovation was loudest, when I still enjoy very cordial relationship with staff of the agency. Like the gentleman that I am, I believe that the right thing to do is to stay away from the agency for the new chaps, the new sheriff on the block, to bring their own style of leadership, to cast their own vision, follow their own mission, achieve their own. What to do is that when you leave the agency, you truly leave and just wish the agency well and support the agency. When we got to the agency, one of the earliest things we did was to do a diagnostic review of the state of things. We were lucky. There was a study done by PwC. Then, of course, we also got detailed plan, master plan done by previous administration. There's a plan done by Architect Agos administration. There's another plan that was made by the Temi Omaseye administration and the Patrick Abobelekeme administration. So I had the privilege of studying these documents. Then we had a brainstorming section with staff. After 3 days of brainstorming section with staff, we were able to come up with a roadmap. And every single thing we did in the 4 years of our stay in the agency was based on that roadmap which we agreed with the staff. And one of the highlights of the roadmap was to reset our human capacity. And what did we do in resetting our human capacity? We did at least 5 critical things. One is that we consistently promoted staff because there was backlog of promotion throughout that period. We consistently promoted staff in those 4 years. Now, 2 is that we realized that housing was an issue. We revisited the housing loan scheme, increased, double the number of persons who benefited from the housing loan scheme. Now, 3 is the home ownership grant. Before then, it has always been in the books. Nobody had implemented it. I was the first to implement the home ownership grant. Now, we doubled the number of persons who send for training abroad and those who send for training locally. Aside from that, aside from doubling the number of persons who send, we increased the employer's contribution to the pension scheme from 10% to 20%, meaning that NIMASA staff, when they retire, they get more benefits in the area of pension. That, again, we also did. Aside from that, we literally impacted in all areas of the areas of human capacity. So when I look back with some sense of fulfillment. I believe that we did our best for staff of the agency, and that's why I can walk my head high. And the result is that they gave us maximum cooperation, and we're able to achieve most, if not all, our key programs.
Okay, so now talking about working with your head up high, you seem to be a very result-oriented person. Looking back at your record as Commissioner for Works in Rivers State and the state of project delivery within that time, one could call it unprecedented. Can you give us an insight into you were able to how you were able to pull that feat, bearing in mind the political atmosphere in Rivers State vis-a-vis ethnic and community interests? How were you able to pull all those projects?
Wherever I have served, three things have always guided me. The first one is that there's always an end, and what legacy will I be remembered for? First. And so, whenever I step into an office, I start with the end in mind. What is my vision? How do I want to be remembered when I leave? The end will come when I leave this place. What legacy will I be remembered for? And so I start with a vision. And that vision becomes a source of inspiration, a source of motivation, if you call it. It becomes my passion. The second one is that apart from a strong vision, wherever I go, wherever I serve, I lay out a strategic plan, a long-term plan, and I divide it into daily activities, weekly activities, monthly activities, quarterly activities, and annual activities. This is what I want to achieve in one day. This is what I want to achieve in 1 week, in 1 quarter, in 1 year, in 2 years, or whatever period I have. That's the second important thing. The third important thing is that I realized, my mother taught me this, that hard work does not kill. And that the secret to success, apart from every other factor, is that you must really work hard and smart. If you don't work hard and smart, you're not going to succeed. Success do not come by chance. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of determination. It requires passion. It requires courage and sacrifice. That's the third important reason why I think that God has been so kind to me. Now, the other thing I realize is that you can't do everything yourself. You need a team. Wherever I go, one of the earliest things I do is that I harness everybody into a team. It is not me being chief executive or whoever, whether you're a commissioner, chief executive. I realize that you can't do much. You need a team. Get them to buy the vision. Get them to understand the vision. Get them to be passionate about the vision. Communicate the vision all the time. Make them buy into it. Let them dream about it. Let them see the end. Let them be ready to go to any length to help you achieve the end. But one important thing, let them also share in the praises and the glory. Let them share in benefits if there are benefits. That's been my secret. Now, the other thing I realized in public office is that discipline is key. If you're not a disciplined person, you're not going to succeed. You may even work hard, but you're not disciplined. You must stay focused, remain disciplined, be single-minded, be determined. Don't let anything distract you. Be selfless. Don't let money, ambition, praise, or anything distract you. Be single-minded about what you want to achieve. And so, how did I apply that in Rivers State? The moment I arrived in Rivers State Ministry of Works, one of the earliest things I made clear to them is that I had a conversation with the then governor, and we are clear on what we wanted. We wanted to build 1,000 kilometers of roads. We wanted every local government area in Rivers State to be connected by road to the capital city of Port Harcourt. So that's one. Now, two, we set out to build 10 flyovers and a number of bridges, 20 bridges. We made that clear. We wanted almost every riverine community to be connected by road. We wanted to open up the communities for commerce so that development can get to those communities. And so we're clear about the vision, what we wanted. The same thing applied when we got to NIMASA. What did we want in NIMASA? We wanted to be the #1 maritime regulator in Africa. We wanted to be a world-class regulatory agency. The vision was known, clear. What is the next thing? Is that the same thing we did in Ministry of Works. We had to set a plan in place. What is our strategic plan? What's our medium-term plan, long-term plan? What is the short-term plan? The same application, the same thing we applied in NIMASA. We got to NIMASA, we did a diagnosis. What is the problem? What are the problems we need to fix? Now, again, we developed what we call the medium-term strategic plan in NIMASA. Well-known medium-term strategic plan. We crafted the vision, the mission. We changed the artifacts. We changed the feel of the office. We made everything clear. We flattened the hierarchy so that everyone could have access to a DG. A DG is simply a single member of a team. We started addressing ourselves as Team NIMASA. We made that very clear. Strategic plan in place. The other thing we did is that we made everybody understand that they are part of the team. Their work contributes to our overall objective and our overall success. The same principles we applied in River State Ministry of Works are the same principles with same tweaking here and there. At the end of the day, we thank God that today, at least we acknowledge that we can turn around even a dead horse. We can turn around anything simply by applying those principles and remaining true to ourselves, guided by discipline, foresight, hard work, and honesty.
All right, thank you very much.
I'm sure it's your disciplined attribute that made a large percentage of the maritime industry operators opine that your tenure as the DG NIMASA was dotted with unprecedented giant strides. Now, if I may borrow words from the famous Dr. Senator Goswell Obota-Fabio, I would say uncommon transformation of NIMASA. Now, sir, what are those things you wished you could have done before your tenure elapsed? Probably you would want your successor to do those things as you had not had enough time to do them. Some things that would possibly position NIMASA even better, sir.
Well, if you ask me, there are many, but I can just point out 5 that I consider critical. 1, for as long as security is not fixed, the maritime industry in Nigeria will not thrive. One of the things I wish I had completed and made functional optimally is what is called the Deep Blue Project, which will have addressed security substantially within Nigerian waters and within the Gulf of Guinea area. Not just the initial phase of the Deep Blue Project, but the second phase of the Deep Blue Project, where we'll get the industry to work with us to police and effectively police the Nigerian waterways. That's 1. Now, 2 is that as a regulatory agency, our work is enforcement of laws. We have started legal reforms. I wish we had completed those legal reforms. It's been a long, tortuous road, but we had made 85% accomplishment. Why is it that we couldn't achieve the legal reforms? Because what is left is at the domain of the National Assembly. We can't control the speed at which National Assembly works. They have their own processes and procedure. We wish we had passed all the legal reforms we are pursuing. That's the second important thing. The third important thing that we wish we had completed was the Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund. We had worked very hard to disburse the Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund because of its multiplier effect on shipping development, especially the acquisition of vessels and generally fleet development in the country. But we're not able to accomplish that because we didn't have control over that. The Honorable Minister has the approval power and a few other things, including the fact that at the time, the fund was in central bank and we were making efforts to move it to a commercial bank so that it will yield some interest and will grow the money so Nigerians will benefit from it. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is that we had initiated what is called the 5-year waiver cessation plan. It is indeed an integrated strategy to grow our cabotage industry. We wish we had time to complete the 5-year waiver cessation plan. We had initiated it, we had started it, we've gone very far, but unfortunately, we are not able to complete that. Now, the fourth thing was the rejigging of our safety systems. What has happened with safety, especially operational issues, is that before now, Safety, the record they give you in safety are about inspections carried out, about vessels arrested. We wanted to change that we had changed it to focus on a different outcome. The outcome we wanted to focus on achieve zero accident, achieve zero pollution, so that there'll be no accident on our waterways, there'll be no pollution on our waterways throughout an entire year. That's the kind of focus we wanted, and we're getting closer to that. Before I left, we had only one accident in a whole year, one or two in a whole year, and that, if you consider that from where we are coming from, we used to have an average of 5 accidents in a year. We reduced it to 2, and I think we had reduced to 1 at some point. And for pollution too, we are going in the same direction. As for human capacity, I think that we had done very well in human capacity. We signed an MOU with World Maritime University to train NIMASA staff, 7 NIMASA staff every year. That is up and running. We have started a knowledge transfer section that's up and running. We have started sending more persons abroad for training. We have grown the number of persons we send for training locally. Now, the other important thing was the issue of Nigerian ship owners or ship operators. We were already negotiating with Central Bank and Nigerian Customs because we thought they should get some leverage in terms of reducing how much they pay in importing vessels and vessel parts into the country. We were rejigging our shipping development initiatives. We were not able to complete that. We have started engagement with Central Bank of Nigeria, Office of the Vice President, Federal Ministry of Finance. I think that we have done so much that my happiness is that the current chief executive used to be part of our team. And so I believe that he will continue with most of these programs and projects. And I wish him well. I have trust that he would do well.
Well, let's also hope that he will do all of that. Now, sir, I know this may not be a question for you, but I'm sure you would have something to contribute to this. So why Nigeria has a long shoreline? Why are ports not cited in most of the littoral states to help the ease in doing maritime business in Nigeria? Because we know that everything maritime, most of the things are always Lagos port, Lagos port. Meanwhile, there are other places where these ports could also be situated to help ease the maritime business. What do you have to say concerning this?
There are 4 factors in deciding where to site a port. And so you don't cite a port just because a place is a littoral state. I'll come back to the 4 factors. But the most important thing is that we have 6 port complexes. So it's not about Lagos port alone. We have the Tinkan port complex. We have the Apapa port complex. We have the Warri port complex. We have the Rivers port complex in Port Harcourt. We have the One port complex. And we have the Calabar port complex. We have other places where port activities take place, in terminals, across the country, in many other of the littoral states. So the issue is not all ports are sited within the littoral states, and it's not everywhere that is suitable for siting a port. Now, in siting a port, like I said, there are 4 very prominent considerations or key considerations. One is the geography of the place, which includes, is it a natural harbor? Do we need to deepen the area? There are many other factors. There are hydrological and hydrographical factors that need to be considered, and there are environmental considerations that need to be considered. Now, ports are going green, ports are built to be sustainable. That's one. Now, 2, there are economic reasons in siting a port. A port will not be viable everywhere. There are places where a port will be viable, and there are places it will not be viable. So there are economic considerations in siting a port. Now, 3, there are social considerations in siting a port. That's also very important. Now, and lately, again, there are environmental considerations. Now, the other ones are hydrographic factors. Now, there are also environmental considerations. So those are 4 key considerations in siting a port. There are other sub-factors, but these are 4 key considerations. Now, part of the environmental factors include security. There are a lot of factors in siting a port. So, most ports are sited in places that meet these 4 conditions. A port is usually an entire community of its own. It's not like a motor park where you can just go fix a motor park. A port is a complete community where many social factors interact for the good of both the country, port users, and the foreigners calling at the port. And so it's slightly complex. It's not as easy as it appears. But one thing is that I think we've gotten the siting of our ports right. I think the issue is that we should make all our ports functional. We should optimize our ports and not just Lagos ports. There are challenges why other ports are not optimized, but the current Minister of Transportation is dealing with those issues. He has set up a committee to deal with those issues. And I know that they've turned in their report. They are at the implementation stage. The execution stage is usually the most challenging. After you put a plan in place, you need to execute. And I'm convinced that they will follow through with the execution. And they will deliver to Nigerians 6 port complexes that are functional. Mind you, there are new port developments going on. And these are actually deep sea port developments going on, which will complement the existing ports and can accept bigger vessels. Of course, they have deeper draft and they are built to modern standards. So they will serve Nigeria and Nigerians.
Okay, so thank you so much for the enlightenment of that. I'm sure you would have some things to add to that.
Yeah, Dr. Dakuku, that was a great profile here, and I really commend you for all the good job you have done. Dr. Dakuku, even the most perfect institutions in the world require constant innovation to keep on top of their game. Do you have any advice for your successor?
Whatever advice I have for my successor, I will not give on television or pages of newspaper. I have unlimited access to him, just like he has unlimited access to me, and we talk very often. Whatever advice I have for him, you can be sure I will share with him. Like I said to you, he used to be part of my team, and we have a solid relationship. So I take advantage of a solid relationship to share whatever advice I have with him. And I'm sure that he's very receptive of whatever advice I'll give him.
All right, sir. But we are still going to dig deep. We will dig deep into your political field. But before we do that, let's quickly speak to our viewers, because they will be asked to send questions so that you can answer them as they come. All right, so you, our viewers, you're still watching the State of the Nation on Aspherictv. And for you to be part of this conversation, if you're watching us on Facebook at official Aspheric News, or on Twitter at Aspheric News, or on Instagram at aspheric.news, you can send in your questions, and please do let us know the location you're sending the question from. And you can also send us SMS on 08099990549. Sir, back to you now. We would delve into politics a little because we know you are also a politician and a former governorship candidate in Rivers State. Your party, the All Progressive Congress, has been in disarray for some time now in the state. What do you have to say about that, sir?
Well, I'm not happy like other members of the party. I'm slightly embarrassed by the state of affairs of things in the All Progressives Congress. I hope that the governors elected on the platform of the party will intervene at some point. I hope that the leadership, when I mean leadership now, not elected members of the National Working Committee, members of National Executive Committee of the party will intervene and restore sanity on the platform of the APC. I am simply not happy about developments in the APC. But I believe that we have a way of internally resolving our conflict. And I believe that all of those things will come to play and will resolve our issues and come out stronger again to give Nigeria good and effective leadership.
Okay. And Dr. Dakuku, with the new caretaker leadership installed by the court, what would be your advice to the APC and its members?
Well, you said caretaker installed by the court. I don't know if the court do install caretaker. The court had given an order and directed the National Working Committee of the party to take steps. The National Working Committee of the party has not taken any step yet. I am what they call statutory member of the State Executive Committee of the party by virtue of the fact that I used to be a member of the National Assembly. We are still waiting for the directive from the National Working Committee of the party, and no such directive has been given. And so, to that extent, I don't know if there's any caretaker committee in place in Rivers State. If you read on the face value of the ruling of the court, there's no leadership right now. There's no caretaker committee in place in Rivers State. We are waiting for the National Working Committee of the party to take action based on that court judgment. They've not issued any statement yet on that court judgment.
All right, thank you very much. And as a former legislator, and in your own calculations, do you see APC making headway in the state in the near future or in the future?
I am very optimistic. I know Rivers State. I understand Rivers State like the back of my palm. I know the people. I understand their aspiration. If there's anything Rivers people want today, is good leadership, and that's what they are being denied. And APC will put its house in order, and they will offer Rivers people the alternative to the crass madness going on in Rivers State today. I'm optimistic that Rivers people will choose APC in the next election to give them good and qualitative leadership. If there's anything Rivers State is yearning for, Rivers State is so endowed, yet our people are deprived of all good things of life, deprived of social amenities, deprived of infrastructure, simply because of lack of leadership. The people are yearning for proper leadership. They are desirous of having leaders that are visionary focused, leaders that are selfless, leaders that will indeed serve them and deliver on their responsibility of turning around the fortunes of the people. Rivers State has never been in this degree of shambles before. So I know that APC will rise again.
All right, sir. And from all indications, you love writing, and that is why you choose to be a columnist with the leadership newspaper. Dr. Dakuku, do you want to delve into publishing industry, then later become a publisher?
No, I'm not going to be a publisher. I'll remain as a columnist for as long as I can. But I know that I have a number of books that very soon will be made public. I've done a number of books. 3 books will be published between now and next year. We'll turn out 3 books. One is on 3 different books will be published between now and next year. Thank you very much.
All right.
Forward to reading those books when they come. Okay, sir, back to NIMASA, and I have this a question to ask. Well, I know that there is no institution, no successful institution right now that haven't had some challenges before rising to wherever they are right now. So what would you say were those challenges you faced as the DG of NIMASA? And how were you able to surmount those challenges?
Well, there are many challenges. Just like you said, all institutions have their own challenges. But I'll point out 5 critical ones. The first one is that when I got to NIMASA, I had to deal with the perception of a place that is corrupt, a place where nothing works, a place that is inefficient. That's one issue I had to deal with. And I had to quickly fix that reputation issue. Reputation was our biggest problem. The second thing is that there was some north-south divide line that you cannot see. And it arose out of many years of perceived injustices. So we tried to bridge that. And by the time I left, nobody could talk about north or south again. They were only talking about NIMASA. There was another line of Joe Malik versus NMA. Joe Malik used to be one of the two agencies that merged to form NIMASA. The other one is NMA, Nigeria Maritime Authority. And so there's suspicion, between those who are from the north, those who are from Germanic, and those who are from NMA. We also breached that gap in the 4 years we served in NIMASA. That was another problem they had. So they had invisible lines you cannot see. But those invisible lines, we are working against the agency. Invisible lines of North versus South, invisible lines of NMA versus Germanic. So we technically dissolved that invisible line, created a perfect team or something that is near a perfect team, get the people unified, get the people to understand that they're working towards a single objective. We're working towards achieving a single vision, that we had one purpose, and that if we're divided, we can't achieve our purpose. That's the second major challenge we faced. The third one is that the people were highly demotivated. They had not been promoted for a very long time. They have been denied what they call their basic entitlements. Now, the policies were not working. Now, people could be hired, and without the right competencies, and they'd be placed above those with the right competencies. And so the system was not structured enough. And so what we did was to begin to correct some of those injustices in the past and created fair and equitable ways of dealing with every other person. And we created standards. So everybody knows the standard under which you are going to be dealt with or operate. So there are common standards for discipline, common standards for promotion, common standards for giving you a fair chance to travel for courses abroad. There are common standards. We'll put in place policies. We'll put together what we call compendium of policies. We'll put together standard operating procedures. Now, these standard procedures, we are not able to collect it, but we have standard operating procedure for every single thing. So the people knew what to expect. They know the standards with which we were dealing with them. So we had common standards that applies to everybody. Nobody got preferential treatment. That was another thing we dealt with. Now, the other thing was issue of stagnated promotion, if you like, backlog of promotion. That we also dealt with by correcting it. All those who for 10 years have been on a single spot were able to clear their promotion, get them opportunity to write exams, to be interviewed, to be promoted. And in 4 years, we did that consistently to clear backlog of promotion. We did. Now, network problem at some point. Okay, so I can go on and on and on and say that the critical pain points, we fixed all of them, we addressed all of them. Now there was need, our laws were getting obsolete. Our laws were not keeping pace with developments in the industry. We quickly had to run a very comprehensive program of reforming all our laws. Now, the other challenge is that we had so many things, so many bills hanging with operators in the industry. We instituted a final billing system which addressed bills that were hanging, debts that were not sorted out, things that were not reconciled. In one program, we were able to address all of that. Now, the other challenge we faced is the accusation that NIMASA is not able to enforce the Cabotage Act. That, again, stared us at the face. We immediately started what's called the new Cabotage Compliance Strategy. We stopped the consideration of application for waivers. Now, that immediately gave us a multiplier result. We got more Nigerians on board local vessels. We were able to achieve 7,000 Nigerians. I've heard somebody say, we deceived the industry by saying we had 7,000. The statistics is there. Anybody can challenge it. We have always put it out and say we put 7,000 Nigerians on board cabotage vessels. And that was the highest in our recent history. So all the issues, the challenges we met in NIMASA, one way or the other, we dealt with most of them because we are conscious that we had a time frame. We mobilized the team. We had a common vision. We had a clear roadmap. The medium-term strategic plan. We worked with the medium-term strategic plan. We got everybody to work as a team. That's important. And we gave everybody their fair share of things. Those were the critical things we did.
Wow, thank you so very much, sir. I'm really sure you had all those challenges in control with the way you're explaining them to us. But I must really commend you so very much on that. Ayo Olua, I'm sure you still have some questions for Doctor.
Yes, Dr. Dakuku. We all know that the coronavirus pandemic has caused a lot of setbacks to the entire economy of the whole world, and more especially Nigeria in particular, where we are right now. Do you see Nigeria recovering from this cause in a short while?
Oh, definitely. If you look at what has happened in the past, there's no pandemic or epidemic that did not come to an end. Now, recall that there's Spanish flu of 1918. It also got to an end. Now, there are so many other things. Even the most recent one, polio. Nigeria has been certified by World Health Organization as polio free. At the time we had the outbreak of polio, people thought polio would not come to an end. Polio was as devastating as many of the epidemics we had. And so this one will also come to an end. Now, considering my person as an incurable optimist, I clearly know that this pandemic will also come to an end. Nobody can say it will come to an end today or tomorrow. It will definitely come to an end. It will come to an end through three means. One is that a cure can be found for it. Two, a vaccine can be found for it. That's the second one. Three, it can simply come to an end by act of God, by total elimination. You know, people get to a point where nobody contracts new cases. So one or three ways of coming to an end of the pandemic. But whether it will come to an end, it will definitely come to an end. And that's our prayer. And I'm a Christian. Most Christians, most good Muslims are praying and will know that our God answers prayers. This pandemic will come to an end and life will return to normalcy. It may not be very soon, but it will come to an end and life will return to normalcy.
Amen to that. We are having
Amen. All right. So now we are going to the question section because we have some questions coming in from Facebook here. And the first question is from Mr. George Indodisi. Though this is concerning the political side of our discussion. It says Victor Giadom was said to have resigned from the NWC before becoming the deputy governorship candidate before the 2019 election. Are you aware of this, or what do you really know about this?
Okay, I'm not the whole Victor Giadom, so Chief Victor Giadom, but I'll tell you what I know. I'm aware that Victor Giadom sought the leave of the National Working Committee to offer himself as candidate for Deputy Governor, Office of Deputy Governor of Rivers State. Now, unfortunately, that project did not fly because INEC and the courts made it impossible for APC to field candidates in governorship election of Rivers State. Now, that program, having not worked, the National Working Committee that granted him leave, that granted him waiver to offer himself, recalled him back and issued him an appropriate letter saying, oh, well, since you couldn't put yourself forward again, we'll call you back because we had granted you waiver, a leave. And so we called you back to occupy your office. And he got back and they further appointed him the acting secretary of the party. And he has been acting in that office until the court directed that he was the highest officer from the zone. He should act as chairman. That's much I know.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And here, Dr. Dakuku, this is a question from Brian Shanley. He says, what was the greatest challenge when you appealed the NIMASA work?
I've said the two most important challenges, and I've said so clearly. I said the first one is reputation. The reputation of NIMASA was very bad before Nigerian people. Very, very bad. Many persons didn't want to touch NIMASA. Didn't want to have anything to do with NIMASA. Now, two, the second greatest challenge that I dealt with was the invisible lines in the agency. There's a north-south tension, and you cannot see it, but the tension was hot. The second tension is the NMA versus Jomalik tension. You know, the third tension was the newly recruited 600 staff that met the other people who were in the agency before. So they had tension. You know, there are all sorts of tension. And what we did was to address the issue of reputation, and that led us to rebranding. We embarked on a massive rebranding exercise, repositioned the agency. And we did not just embark on rebranding, we were taking actions to show that this is a new NIMASA where things work, where there is zero tolerance for corruption, where the agency is responsive and the agency serves the interest of the agency serves the interest of every Nigerian who is working in the maritime sector. The second thing we did is that there was a cultural transformation. We changed the culture of the agency and we created new systems, new structures in place. But we instituted a new culture, a new way of life. So we're not just saying it, we role modeled it. We made people see that there's no difference in dealing with somebody from the north or south, somebody from NMA, from Germanic, or the new staff that were recruited during my good friend's tenure, Patrick Aboblekime, or the old staff. We made everybody understand that they are one single team and we're pursuing one purpose and one objective. Those were the two key things. I'm sure I'm very, very clear by saying one was the issue of reputation. The second thing were the invisible lines in the agency.
All right, thank you, Dr. Dakuku. Yes, another question. This person said, with all these achievements you have reeled out, some Rivers people have argued that your tenure was not renewed because you were of the southern part of the country. How do you react to this kind of perception?
I don't think that's correct at all. I've heard and read a lot that my tenure was not renewed because I'm from the southern part of the country. Now, Mr. President, at his pleasure, appointed me for a 4-year tenure. I served out my tenure. The decision to appoint or not to reappoint resides with Mr. President, and I'm sure there are many factors he will consider in making that decision. Many factors. And so it is only Mr. President that can tell you that these were my considerations in not reappointing you. But I don't think I was very keen about being reappointed or not. You know, I just simply wanted to do my tenure and move on to do some other things. So, but the decision about reappointment or not resides with Mr. President, and he has discretion to apply it however it suits him and however he wants his team to work. And I'm grateful that he gave me the opportunity to serve.
All right, thank you very much. And here we have another question for you, Dr. Dakuku. This person said the port of Warri, Port Harcourt on Calabar. Why do you think these facilities are not as vibrant like the Lagos port?
Well, there are many reasons, but I'll just give you a few. One, you know, there are a lot of insecurity in what they call the Eastern Port. Eastern Port, meaning the ports in Warri, in Rivers or Port Harcourt, and Calabar, they have security challenges which we cannot ignore. But we're fixing it with the Deep Blue project and other security architecture we're putting in place. The Nigerian Navy is putting a number of security architecture in place. NIMASA is putting security architecture in place. We're working in an integrated manner. That's one. Now, two, is that most of those ports were built many years ago. There is some silting here and there. The infrastructure needs to be rehabilitated and fixed. Some ports need to be deepened. Now, in Calabar Port in particular, there's a place called a neck, the place that connects the ocean to, mind you, it's a river port in Calabar that you have. You have a meandering channel that will take you to the port. That place needs to be deepened. So they also have the problem of deepening the port, deepening the draft in Calabar. Now, the quay wall and a few other structures in Port Harcourt need to be rehabilitated. That's the second point. So the infrastructure and the depth of the port, there are issues. Now, the third point there is that there are a lot of challenges when you land your goods in Rivers Port. Between Rivers Port and Aba, a distance of not more than 30 miles or 45 kilometers or 50 kilometers, you have so many checkpoints. If you land your goods in Lagos coming to Onitsha, you won't believe that you have fewer checkpoints. And I don't understand why that is so. That's another reason. You know, the supporting infrastructure, the shore infrastructure between where the ports are and the commercial centers need to be revisited. Now, the fourth issue, I've said the first one is the draft of the ports. The second one, the infrastructure of the existing port. The fourth one, the third one, security around those areas. The security around those areas. Now, the shore supporting structure, meaning that the access roads, all the other things that support a port to thrive need to be revisited in the eastern port. Now, the fifth one is the volume of commercial activities. For example, in Calabar, the volume of commercial activity is not enough to support a port to flourish. We need to rejig commercial activities in Calabar and get the supporting infrastructure, road network, rail, and all of that. Thankfully, the Federal Ministry of Transportation is addressing intermodalism, ensuring that all rail terminals end in a port. It will help in the evacuation of goods from port to the hinterlands. Those are some of the key challenges the ports in those areas face. You know that there are large number of commercial activities in Lagos. The draft of the two ports in Lagos are a lot more better than drafts in Rivers Port and in Calabar Port. The One Port is good, and that's why if you notice, the One Port is also picking. That's where we are.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Dakuku. Mr. NDDC said, under your watch, what did Rivers State gain from NIMASA? And he said, if you are given the opportunity to be the governor of Rivers State, what would you do for the state?
All right, NIMASA is a regulatory agency, and we're regulators for the whole country. It will be unfair for you to ask me to talk about what we did specifically for Rivers State. That means I will say what I did specifically for the 36 states of the country, or even the 10 littoral states of Lagos, Ondo, Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River. That would be unfair to me, I'm sure you know, for me to say what did I do for the specific littoral states or for the 36 states of the country. Now, if you ask me, what will I do if I become governor of Rivers State, please just wait for me to put myself forward first. Then you can say, last time when I ran for the office of governor of Rivers State, I came out clearly with a program called the Roadmap to Prosperity. And everybody still remembers the Roadmap to Prosperity. The roadmap was built on 4 important pillars. And we said, if you give us Rivers State under 4 years, we'll turn it around and make Rivers State compete with a Dubai. And we're very clear. We showed everybody how we're going to do it. We did not conceal our plans. We made it clear. And Rivers people keyed into the plan. They were simply denied the opportunity of voting and choosing a governor of their choice. We hope that someday they will have that opportunity of choosing a governor of their choice. And if they make that choice, you know that Rivers State will become the beacon of hope for the black man.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Dakuku. And now, Wati.
Yes,
I know you have a lot to say because I can see that in your face.
Okay. Well, I can remember vividly in 2015 when I went to Rivers State, and I think that was the election period, and then I happened to see the post of a fine man, Dr. Dakuku Peterson, and all what was running through my mind was, I wish this was in Akwa Ibom. I wouldn't have expected to carry my voter's card, go vote for Dr. Dakuku. So I'm sure, do you still, would you say you still have, I don't know if you still have, I don't know if you still have some.
All right, Dr. Dakuku Peterside, we must really say.
Waki will join us.
Dr. Dakuku, before we go, because we are about wrapping up the program, but before we go, where do you see Nigeria as a whole in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
Well, if you ask me, I'll be very honest with you. My prayer Waki, we lost you at some point. You're welcome
Yeah.
back.
Is a poor reception over here. I'm so sorry about that. So as I was saying, sir, I'm sure you still have interest in, or maybe it's my assumption, though correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you still have any political ambition as to being still contesting for elections in the Rivers State. Because like the person who sent the last question said, I'm sure you still have a lot of things in mind to do for the great people of Rivers State. So do you still have any political ambition as regarding that, sir?
I like to answer the question like this, Waki. Show me one politician who does not have a political ambition. Then he's not a politician. What I cannot say is whether I have ambition to run for presidency of the country, governor of Rivers State, councillor in my ward, local government chairman, or to serve in appointed political office. But whether I have ambition or not, I have ambition.
Okay, sir. So is your ambition still in the governorship aspect, or you would want to divert to another office?
In all honesty, it will be too early to discuss whether I'll be running for office of governor or not. This is clearly 3 years to 2023. One day is too long in politics. A lot can change under one day. If tomorrow I have opportunity of serving as president of this country, you think I will say no? Waki, I will not say no. I believe I have the capacity to serve as president of the country. And I'll be going to struggle for governor of Rivers State. I won't go and struggle for governor of Rivers State if I'm offered the presidency of the country. So Waki, I believe that 48 hours is long enough, then 3 years is indeed even too long. So let's allow things unfold. But whether I have ambition, I definitely have ambition to serve the people of this country, make impact. And because I believe I'm called to leadership, I'm called to make a difference wherever I find myself. I'm called to let people know that God can use a human being to transform a society. And everywhere I've been, I've done the best I can to allow God use me to transform society.
Thank you so much in that clarity, sir.
All right, Dr. Dakuku. Dr. Dakuku.
Yeah.
We have a last question here from Mr. Raymond George Will. He said, how did NIMASA handle crab vessels laying on our waterway?
All right, thank you very much. The issue of scrap, I like to explain it. NIMASA is a receiver of wrecks. There are 4 parties that have responsibility when it comes to a wreck. One is the person who owns the vessel that turned to a wreck. He has primary responsibility to remove the wreck. That's primary responsibility to remove the wreck. Is the owner of the vessel. Whoever owns the vessel that turns to a wreck has the primary responsibility. I hope that's very clear. That's one. Now, 2 is that if it turns out to be a wreck within port vicinity, within port approach and port vicinity, and it's not able to remove the wreck, peradventure, and MPA issues notice accordingly, in accordance with the provisions of the law, and it's not able to remove the wreck. MPA removes the wreck, charges the person who originally owned what now turned out to be a wreck, and surrenders wreck to NIMASA, who is the receiver of wreck, and NIMASA takes the necessary action. If the wreck occurs in inland waters, NIWA, Nigeria Inland Waterways Authority, now will force the person who used to own what constitutes a wreck, what now constitutes a wreck, to remove the wreck. If the person is not able to remove the wreck, NIWA removes the wreck, surrenders it to NIMASA, who is the national receiver of wrecks. If occurred on our coastal waters, then NIMASA will force the person who used to own the vessel that turned out to be a wreck to remove it. And if it does not, NIMASA removes this and surcharges the person. But NIMASA's role is to be a receiver of wrecks. Now, under my watch, what happened is that we published a number of marine notices asking people to go and remove their wrecks. Get appropriate approvals, remove your wrecks. Now, for some wrecks, that we could not identify the owners. We initiated a procurement process to remove them. We have gone through the tender processes, and we are almost forwarding the memo to the Federal Executive Council. Once we get approval from Federal Executive Council, I'm sure we'll be able to remove the Rex and we'll take necessary action. That's what we've done with Rex. But we have removed a few strategic Rex that constituted navigational hazards. We did that in many locations. And those were Rex that really constituted very serious navigational hazards. In some other cases, we compel people to remove their scrap vessels. That's what we have done with removal of Rex.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Dakuku. And Waki, do you have anything to say to wrap up before we finally end the show for today?
There are always a lot of questions when it has to do with NIMASA, and in particular when it has to do with Dr. Dakuku Perterside having to answer those questions. Well, but let's hope that we will still have an opportunity to interview you, sir, because I think we still have a lot of questions. But due to the fact that we don't have time on our side, so but we will still be so happy to host you some other time. So, sir, as your parting word, what advice do you have to give to Nigerians? You know, is this a great
Waki, why we lost you? Ayoluwa asked me a question. What do I see? Where do I see Nigeria in the future? And my answer is that the future of Nigeria is bright. That's the first thing. The future of Nigeria is bright because every day we appreciate more that it is to our advantage if we live together as one indivisible country. Every day we realize that we are endowed. We are one of the most endowed countries in the world. The problem we have had all that long appears to be leadership. And I believe that as democracy takes root, we'll get to a point where we elect leaders who truly can meet our aspirations. I believe that our past leaders and our current leaders are putting the right foundational structures in place. And now if you're going to build a building, foundation is usually the most difficult period. If you come out of foundation, it becomes a lot more easier. So I believe that the future of Nigeria is bright. The economy will bounce back. We'll create jobs for our people. We'll address the high number of people living under $1 a day. Currently, you are aware, or $2 a day rather. You are aware that we have close to 100 million Nigerians living by what the UNO definition of poverty is. And we have 40 million Nigerians unemployed by any means. And that's an embarrassing number. But China lifted more than 500 million people out of poverty under a period of 10 years. So if China can do it, we can do it too. I believe that we're more endowed than China if we talk about per unit, per square meter. So I see the future of Nigeria being very bright. I see a lot of young people who are visionary, who are very focused, who are hardworking. A lot of young people who want to give their best for this country. I see people having faith in the country again. And so I see a bright future for the country. I see a bright future for the maritime sector where I last served. And I see a bright future for Rivers State. Rivers people know that in the past, they made some decisions that did not actually serve their interest. Going forward, they won't make such decisions again. I believe that God has a special plan for this country. If there's anybody who believes it, I believe it. And that plan will manifest sooner than later. And so, for me, let's keep having faith in Nigeria. God is not done with Nigeria. The future is bright. We need to put in place the building block, which includes discipline, which includes selflessness. And clearly, let's have a vision, run with a vision, and be ready to pay the price to achieve our vision. We will achieve our vision. Nigeria will be great again. Thank you very much, Waki. Thank you, Ayoluwa.
Sir, as I join in your faith to say that Nigeria will rise and must surely rise again. I'm one of the youth really having such faith about Nigeria because This is our country. We don't have any other country to call us. So together, I'm sure the youth and every single citizen in this country will join hands together to lift this country up again. Thank you so much, sir. It has been a very wonderful time having this interview with you, and I'm very sure that the next time you come, we'll have lots of interesting things to talk about as well. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, me myself, I will not be left out. So me myself, I'm wishing Nigeria the very best, just like Dr. Dakuku Peterside and YT Paul.
Program or something like that. Yeah. Via internet. Okay, I'm starting internet. So just yes, yes. Okay, so that's okay. You certainly have. Yeah. Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay, okay. Okay, okay. So what did you come up with? Thank you. What did come out is that yes. For a long time. So even when we set up the infrastructure, we are still not going to take advantage of it. So we are two facts to it. The first one is that the government has granted that industry. Okay. And that industry is not going to make any progress in the next few years. Yes. And then the second dimension is that we are not even ready. Okay, which you have pointed out. Yes. But the point of trying to demonstrate that it does appear that from your arrival,